River ice, especially on a fast-flowing stream like the Bow River, is just never safe. These dogs didn't seem to realize that. Or I guess they just didn't care. Mama Dog was leading them across and they were determined they were going to go. Fortunately, they made it. Ice was the reason I'd come out this way. Ice on the Bow River, yes, like these beautiful crystals floating along, or this gigantic set of ice bells on a poplar. And everything around that ice, too, like this chickadee. And the beautiful countryside where the Bow River flows out of the mountains onto the plains. Bighorn sheep, too. These guys were right beside the road. They couldn't have cared less about the vehicles going by, and, well, that's one of the reasons why I feel a little bit guilty photographing them, because they just make it so easy. But they also make for pretty decent pictures. Not far from the Bighorns, the wind was just howling down the valley. I stopped here at Gap Lake to photograph some of the waves crashing on the shore and some of that splash ice. I love how it forms on stuff just sticking out of the water randomly. And I found ducks, too. Mallards taking advantage of the little sheltered coves to get out of the wind. And once they relaxed enough to have a little nap. Gap Lake is interesting because at one end it hardly ever freezes because of the springs coming up. The other end, it freezes really solid. The ice itself stays fairly clear, but then things come along like snow that swirls and melts and refreezes back into the surface, and methane bubbles that come up from the bottom and freeze into the undersides of the ice. There were a few people skating here too, but it couldn't have been much fun on a windy day like this. I was more out of the wind at nearby Grotto Pond, so I stuck my little GoPro underneath the ice to see what I could see. It's a completely different world under here where those clear spring waters come up. Life thrives and goes on all through the winter. Those springs also form kind of interesting patterns on the ice, too. Where the slightly warmer waters from the springs bubble up, the ice is continually melted and refrozen and melted and refrozen, and it stays crystal clear. If only the sound stayed crystal clear. In addition to all the car traffic, there was train after train rumbling past. But that didn't seem to bother these trumpeter swans. There were probably 50 of them, several different families, and they were all clustered along the bank of the Bow River. The river here doesn't often freeze, so it makes for a pretty decent place for these guys to hang out. I'm glad they decided to. And these guys too, Bohemian waxwings. There was a flock of, I don't know, around 100, and they were just gobbling up all these ground juniper berries. And then washing down their gin-flavored treats with beaks full of snow. Such a pretty way to end the day. Beautiful country, beautiful birds, bighorn sheep, and fantastic ice. But friends, don't be like those crazy dogs. Stay off frozen rivers.